Jack Mader teaches at the MCTC, and one of his former students is here, Al, and who studied photography with him back in 2007, around there, yeah. And so Jack has generously agreed to come in and judge this year's annual student art exhibition entries in the field of photography.
That's right.
Thank you, Jack, for coming here. And I have given Jack free rein to say and do whatever he wants, to allow whatever he feels should be in the show under whatever circumstances. And at next Thursday night, yeah, I think it's next Thursday night, at our awards, we will be announcing first, second, third, and any honorable mentions. So Jack, take it away.
All right, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is a sort of like a date that we put off for a while. 2 years ago, you wanted me to do it, but I was visiting my son in Japan at that time, and so this is pretty cool. I really am honored to be here and be involved with this, and I didn't take it lightly. You know, it's always interesting to be like put in the judging role. I don't know if this isn't the first time, but it's the first time in a long time that I've been, you know, the judge. So I have a lot of empathy for people that have to do that. If it's at Minneapolis Photo Center when they have their call for submissions, or the state fair, my God, I mean, this is just a fraction of the work that they have to go through it in about the same amount of time. So, and nonetheless, I just tell you about me. I teach at MCTC. I teach in the Photography and Digital Imaging program. It is different than the Fine Arts program. We're a little bit different college there. We have a community and technical college. I have a technical background. I got my back door into education. I was in industry, okay? Actually, I started as and I'm not going to talk too much about myself, I promise, but I started in photography in 1973. I went to a tech school, graduated, and started working for Tonka Corporation, photographing the 76 toy line in 74. It was very hush-hush, okay? And I ended up, you know, commercial photography, industrial photography, and I wanted a non-corporate outlet for my skills. I knew how to teach, and I didn't know that. And people said, you should go get your degree and teach. And I thought, I'm a photographer. I don't want to do that. But because I could teach, the phone rang one day, and it was from my old instructor at Hennepin Technical College, is where my alma mater, as it were, and he knew I could teach, and they were looking for an assistant, right? It's a great job. And then my commercial skills really started to grow, because I was teaching in a commercial photography program and running color lines and using view cameras and big lights and you know, location this, architecture that, and then I was encouraged, you should go get your license. Back then, to get a technical license, you had to have like 10,000 hours of work experience and take like 5 college-level teaching courses. And I did that. I got licensed, and then I got hired in Minneapolis to run their program, their technical program. When I say technical, and Alex will know, it's occupational. The students that I have there are there for career purposes, and it's quite different than just taking a class. I understand some of you are like nursing students or non-photo majors, non-visual arts majors. How many of you are non-visual arts majors? About half, something like that. Okay. So, I mean, that just doesn't happen in my program. People are there, they're photographers, they're aspiring photographers. And the trouble with that, if there's trouble, is that there's pressure on me to deliver. We have to help them find jobs. That's our barometer, is that people find jobs. The barometer here is that people are graduating from the program probably, but ours is, not only did they graduate, that they found work. So we're tied into the commercial field. That being said, if you want to see a really cool portfolio, look at the people that shoot Target ads. Look at the people that shoot toasters for Target. They don't show them toasters. They show them really creative photography to get a job to shoot toasters. Okay? So, to be in the commercial world, you have to be creative and you have to have your technical skills down. There, I said that. I was asked to come in here and do this and look at your work. The first thing I said when I walked in the room was, and it's a left-handed compliment, is well, I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't know. I don't like it when people say that to me, but I ended up saying it. I didn't know what to expect, but what I saw right away was like, oh, this is pretty cool stuff. And I run to say this, like photography is a really cool thing, whether it's for your career and your artistic development, or if you're just taking it as a course to fulfill your humanities credits. Is that, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. All right. It doesn't matter. You can, if you take pictures, you're a photographer. Okay. And I have this feeling that if you're a photographer, if you get to be a better photographer, you're going to be a better person. It's a great thing to be involved with, to be visually aware. What are you looking at? That's what photography does to me. It makes me, what am I looking at? What am I seeing? What are the, and I like to tie in my vision and what I'm looking at probably goes into what I'm thinking and what I'm meditating about. And I really like nature. I like a different way that Will likes nature, perhaps. He still, what he photographs is kind of like what I photograph, but different. I'm into abstractions probably when I look at things, but that comes and goes. I really like the relationship between the environment and what we are doing to it, if you will. And I try to look at that and those connections with things and find that we're all connected. And my favorite, like what inspires me, someone asked recently, and I said the unfolding universe inspires me. It really does. I love it. I love everything about it. There's subject matter everywhere. That's an Edward Weston quote, if you know who he is. So, well, you should, because someone did a picture just like his. So, when I looked at your work, I'll get back to your work, enough about me, is that one of the things that struck me is that I started seeing almost immediately groupings. And it might be interesting for you to see, like, are you all in the same class?
No.
No, good, good. So it might be interesting for you to see that you photograph the same things, or that you're looking at the world in similar ways. And then also completely different ways. So with that in mind, I think what I'll do is just kind of hold up some of the groupings, if you don't mind. All right. So I talked about Edward Weston, and is this person in here?
Yeah.
All right, so these are homages to famous photographers. You look at that right away, and besides you, does anyone recognize this? Who is that? Yeah? Who? Back there, who is that? Who's the photographer here? Tell us who it is. Who's the photographer?
I believe it's Robert Mapplethorpe.
I believe it's Man Ray.
This
is Man Ray, okay? And Man Ray was, an incredible American photographer that went to, one of those Americans that went to Paris and set them on their ear. Like, wow, this is really amazing. Who is this guy? And so that's Man Ray. And this is one of my favorite photos, not yours, by the way. But this is Edward Weston. This is one of my favorite photographs. I just groove on this one. And it's pictures, I believe her name is Charis.
I thought it was Charis.
Charis, all right, thank you very much.
Charis Wilson.
And who ain't in love with Charis Wilson, eh? Good Lord. He photographed her nude. That's not why. It's my favorite. My favorite photographs of her are clothed. And they're the sexiest photos of her. She was just, but this one, you really nailed the pose, and the lighting is a little too, even for what he did. That's what I liked about his, that shadow, that specularity. But, in terms of like nature, repeating nature, I mean, it's embryonic, it's, what doesn't take that shape. This is a nice visual pun, but it really nailed this too in recreating it. Was this an assignment to recreate famous photos? Good for you. We have that too. Recreate a famous photo. And we're not an art school, so there. Okay? But you did a really good job of it. This is inspire you to, how did this inspire your work?
Well, I kind of work with the lightings because it was in my basement, so like it all depends on where you angle, you get the lights.
Right, that's right. Yeah, so you had to use artificial light, and that's not a skill you necessarily had. Did you bracket the hell out of it to get the good exposures? Or?
No, it was kind of hard for me to
try
to focus and get what I wanted.
But bracketing is your friend. Go ahead and do it. Was this film or digital?
So,
Film. Well, there was, what did we used to say about film? I don't know. Film is what? Cheap, right? Film is cheap. We used to say that. Go ahead. Now film is free if you're digital. And you guys, if you are digital, boy, you just get to shoot and see it right away and get an idea, and move on and get an idea, and wow, 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 wow. That's what happens to me. Okay, so I thought that was an interesting grouping. And then here's a grouping that kind of unfolded in front of me that you guys were doing. And this is, you know, is this a person in here? No? Okay. Hands. You know, it's not, I almost put it, not, you know, oh, it's a cigarette. Well, hey, get over it, it's a cigarette, okay? But I like the, that it was a hand more than anything, and kind of abstract, and then this is kind of abstract, another little hand grouping. I think something like that is kind of fun. It shows to me that people are looking, okay? And I really like this one, is speaking of hands. Is this person in here at all? No, but I like that. It's almost like a documentary photo. It's hard for you to see that it's a hand. I like the treatment on the nails and all that. And I don't know what this person is holding. It was a
perfume bottle.
Perfume bottle. Yeah, I was going to suggest that. Yeah, something cosmetic-y, which is, it's almost would be a nice ad. You know, like if it was, you know, technically a little tighter and stuff like that. But then go ahead and do it like this. You know, this is. Do you know who Nan Golden is at all as a photographer? Okay. It's sort of like a commercial photographer doing something like this inspired by Nan Golden. Look her up, Nan Golden. She lived with drug addicts and stuff like that. So, and her pictures she took were kind of like on-camera flash and kind of low tech, but really cool at the same time. So, there you have it. And then, hands aren't complete unless we got the feet. And so, you know, whoops. And so I like this one. I looked at that and I thought, wow, that's on a scale. Oh no, it's not on a scale. I thought that was kind of fun. Now, by itself as an image, it's okay, but I think it's stronger when you group things. I'm in the middle of helping my students prepare their portfolios. We have 24 people graduating from my program this spring. I will send you information that's about that. Kind of, you know, tie it together if you want to see what my students do. And it's at the Vine Art Center in South Minneapolis.
Oh, that's a wonderful place.
It is a wonderful place. We have a nice show there. It's a gallery show that we have.
When is that open?
That is May 7th through the 11th. We have 2 openings, one on Tuesday and receptions, and one on Thursday of that week. And I'll send some cards.
Yeah, that's a great place.
But I'm helping people like find these things. I mean, we start with people showing us all kinds of images, and then it's kind of our job to, you know, they should have a vision too at that point. It's to see, like, what, didn't you notice that you've got all these feet in your, no, I never noticed that. But anyway, so I like that. This might have been more fun in color, perhaps. Perhaps. And then talk about diversity. We even date outside our species. Look at that. Okay, so I like that. You know, anyone that knows me knows that you get an A if you put a dog in your portfolio. You know, and then that to kind of pull that together as a grouping. And you can even think of your own work. Now, one of the things that I think is really important as you become more visually aware, and I'm sure that they do that here, is to, you know, have you think portfolio, but also along a theme. And it's sort of like, you know, one of the levels of maturity as a photographer is that you elevate yourself from the idea of being a, you know, like, you know, my 10 greatest hits this year. This is a series, this is a project. You know, you've formulated a project and you've went out and executed it. Or you've realized one day, oh my God, I've been shooting a lot of feet. And then you pull that together as a portfolio, that's okay too. But it's, you know, it's like I'm working on projects. You think of yourself as being project and portfolio based. So that's going to be my tendency to do that. But if these were, you know, if you were the photographer for this and you randomly shot these and you're looking at your contact sheets or your PDFs or whatever you do to, you know, look at your files, you would, you know, hopefully start to see this similarity and go out and shoot more of them. Okay? And then footprints and all that kind of stuff. But you couldn't call it Soul Survivor because I've already done that. Okay? This one I loved. these two together, you know, who doesn't like kissing, right? Ooh, 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 okay. So I like the juxtaposition, if you will, between an affectionate mother and daughter and lovers, perhaps. Okay. And it's timely. I don't know if that's two women kissing or a guy. I see it's timely.
Supreme Court.
Yeah, the Supreme Court will decide. But I like this one. Kind of reminds me of Brazi a little bit. If you looked up his stuff, you know, it's a French photographer that kind of worked at night a lot, shooting a lot of, you know, scenes at night and moments in cafes and coffee houses and things. And it has that feeling. You know, the shallow depth of field in this really helps. They should have shallow depth of field because it's, you know, a dark room probably, so they had to open up, but it's got a lot of emotion. Technically, it's probably not that perfect, but it's got a lot of emotion to it. And then, so does this one. This is a really nice print. The tones are just a little soft, which really makes it nice. It's almost like it was maybe softened when it was in the shot, I don't know. But it's not critically sharp, but it's sharp enough. It has a real nice feel to it. To me, it communicates. I like how she's bent over. You know, I don't know if you've heard this ever from your professors, but there's this idea of an inverted C is kind of hot. As humans, we like the look of an inverted C. And it's a nice framing line too that brings you into that. It's graceful. So, look at a teacup with the handle on the left, and then look at that teacup with the handle on the right, and tell me which one is nicer looking. You're going to like that inverted C on the right. That's what I tell my folks. Then, yeah, we're moving along nicely. Then there's a lot of portraits in here. And I just think they make an interesting grouping if you were to see them all together. I think that this one I like. Is anyone in here who did this? No. I think this is pretty strong. I like the little catch lights in the eye, the whole moment with the hands and everything. It's an interesting
I
print.
think it's supposed to be an imitation of...
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I think, but I couldn't figure out who they're imitating. Does he say?
No.
Oh, okay.
Miles Davis. Oh, sure. It's very good for that.
Who
Then.
did that one?
Who did this one?
I don't know. Well, no, who did the Miles Davis one?
I don't know who the photographer is actually.
Can you place the photo?
Oh, I can, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to think of it as a black man.
Yeah.
He's covering up his face and his hands are, and the lighting is pretty harsh.
Yeah.
But very frontal as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, maybe I do remember.
If it was filmed, and I'm sure it was, because it's old, I'm sure they pushed it a little bit to bump the contrast.
Yep.
So that's interesting that that's what that is. I suppose this is too. This is a famous photo as well. No, this is Joey. Okay, but I think they all work together. Is this person in here that shot this? No. Yeah. No.
No.
Okay. Well, one thing I would say about it in terms, that we do with our people too. I just think we can use this person's picture. Oh, nice. Mounting on that saves some money, doesn't it? Okay. Just cropping that in, look what that does to the eye to crop that in. I think, this is what we do with people. I have a t-shirt that says, that one of my daughters gave me, that says, crop it like it's hot. And I wore it to school yesterday. And do you go to work or do you go to school?
I show up here at a regular time and I get paid.
Okay.
But I enjoy it.
I know.
enjoy it.
I don't know if I call, like when someone say, I go to school, I don't go to work.
I don't use that term.
I sometimes do that.
Except for my wife.
So I wore it to school yesterday. So, but because that shadow isn't necessary in there, and just bringing that in and sort of more of a squarish crop and bringing you into the eye more.
Now, Jack, that's not one of my students.
Oh, okay.
I just want you to know, we've got three other teachers in photography, and I love telling them to crop.
Oh, good.
We get those 4-bladed easels.
Yeah.
And then have them reprinted. Same setting on the enlarger. All you gotta do is crop it down, and that'd be so easy to do on that.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Piece of
And of course, the digital is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And the guy that I work with on the portfolio show was a former creative director, and creative directors are at the top of an ad agency. And so they've got all these people working under them and answering to them. And what a creative director loves to do is direct creativity. What does a photo editor like to do? Edit photos. So if you gave, you give this guy a photograph, and the first thing he does is, he wants to crop it. And he's really good at it. He does crop it like it's hot. This has got to be an Edward Steichen.
Could be.
I mean, it's a famous Edward Steichen, but I like that too. I think it's interesting that we have that theme going on in here, but I like that one because of the eyes and all that. Once again, I think this could be like crop square, and it would sing. We don't need all this extra room over here. So, oh, and I like this quite a bit too. Yeah, his title is Eden. Once again, the eyes, the tight portraits, I like it. I don't know if that's a veil of smoke.
It's a flower.
A flower, is it yours? Nice. Yeah, I like it. I like that. This eye really grabs it, and that's compositionally, it's in the right place to do that, I think. And I wouldn't crop it. You probably have cropped it already. I don't know, but not really. And there is that adage, that purist that you have to crop in the camera. That's good until you get to like let's say a professional level. You got to crop it. Everything's cropped. Like an 8.5 by 11 magazine or whatever it is not proportionate to your film or your image sensor. Nothing is. A 2-page spread in a magazine is not proportionate. They're going to crop it. Gosh, you want to see a really cool show? The Weinstein. It's free. W. Eugene Smith's work is there, and it's free at the
up right now?
Yes, it's like 46th and Bryant or something like that. It's in that area, a little bit maybe west of there. Incredible show. And he always was fighting with art directors who wanted to crop his images and edit them. He was a purist, but I used to be a purist, and I'm not so much anymore. In fact, what I do is I shoot it the way I want it, and now I back up to give myself cropping. And with digital photography, I back up to give myself lens correction room, especially if I'm shooting buildings or anything, or if I'm worried about lines, because in digital photography you can, work with like you're on a view camera again and correct the linear distortion and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I do. I always back up. This one I put in, I do kind of like the digital technique in it. So it's, I don't know if it fits the rest of them because there's such an organic feel to them, but I guess I like the digital technique, and that they're all heads, I guess, as well. I think Edward Weston didn't call them portraits, he called them heads. Did another head shot. Okay, but I do like that there is a digital technique of some kind going on there that's not exactly over the top, but it's obvious at the same time. It's like if someone did a whole series of portraits like this, it might be interesting. And watch what you're good at too, because next thing you know, that's all everybody wants you to do. Moving right along. Hey, ask a question. I hope that you don't think that that this is a monologue. Okay. This grouping was kind of I'm going to leave this here as sort of a segue image. I like there's sort of an urban feel here on these, but they're kind of landscapey. Was this a digital photograph? Yeah. It was. I would try to reprocess that and then drop the moon in there beautifully. Is someone here that did that?
No, Shane.
Yeah. Where are you? No, they're not here. Okay. Yeah, but that's what I would do. I mean, is to get some texture into that moon, but I like it. It's like, I don't have a shot like this. It's one of those things, well, yeah, I could do that. I don't have a shot like this. Do you have a shot like that?
Not like that.
I don't have a shot of any moons rising over Minneapolis, and I see the downtown skyline from my sidewalk. I can easily, shoot the skyline if I wanted to, with the moon rising, but I haven't done that, so I put that in there. I like this. This is sort of like a nice documentary photograph. It's very good documenting, styles and winter. The bus line. It's one of those images that 20 years from now is going to be more interesting than that abstraction of the crack in the sidewalk that we're all, gushing over now. Like, this is going to be interesting when we start looking at the styles and it's not to say too much about it and make too many assumptions, but it's interesting. It's like you know, the average white kid's got his own car. You know, this is like urban, this is maybe about poverty, it's interesting. I don't want to get, you know, what's the word, you know, lose my objectivity about the image and start making assumptions of what's going on into it, but it speaks that way to me. Once again, I think the contrast on it could be a little bit bumpier, you know, it would say more, but it's still okay. I mean, the message is really there to me. So that's what I said. This is funny, I like this one. I like the composition, I like the colors a lot in it. I think I've seen this somewhere before recently. This is, I dreamt about it, that's right. Yeah. But the irony is I put this one in here and I do reject some things, okay? And as I was going back through the rejects, just to make sure I wanted to reject them, this one was kind of tucked into the mat on another one and I didn't see it. So that happens, okay? So if you ever don't get in the show, it's like, oh, it must have been stuck in another person's mat. But I like the colors, I really do. And then when I look at it, you know, I don't know where this is, but it might have been even one of those things that one of my students had photographed once upon a time. You know, that happens to me. One of the things I rejected, and it isn't why I rejected it, but it's a scene that I've seen a lot, that I photograph a lot, and I thought, you know, that's not a good representation of that scene. And that's why I didn't put it in. But, you know, you see things that have been photographed before. But I like that. This is a very strong composition. I like this arch coming in here, framing that, leading line going up to it. It's classic. The colors are wonderful, the color combinations. It's real easy to look at. But it's a nice juxtaposition to the urban scene. But it's, you know, got some decay with it, which is interesting all on its own. I do like this, and I recognize where that was right away. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a nice, I like the cropping on it. I think that's a pretty hot shot. You know, it's, I like the tonality. It's like an analogous color scheme. You know, I do like it. I'm not an analogous fan. But I do like the crop. I like the matting on it. And it's got a sense of place, and you're not seeing a lot. It's recognizable. Is that like on 37th in Chicago or something like that, or Lake in Chicago?
It's on Broadway.
Oh, it is?
North, Broadway Avenue, you know, north.
It's north?
Yeah, right near the, you know, the 94.
Okay,
Or
all
West
right.
Broadway, West Broadway.
West Broadway,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Okay, but I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice shot of that. And this one I've seen a lot from my students and such, but it's, oh, wait, I got it upside down. I do that right away. Okay, which is fun. That's what I liked about it. It was confusing. Yeah, it's disorienting. It's fun to do that in images. This is really well done with all the depth of field in it and the exposure and all that stuff and the color. And is that person in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too, just because of it's so different and yet it's kind of architectural.
She's Indian, so that's her temple. See?
Okay.
So she's got special insights.
And dig that complementary color scheme. People that know me know that I'm hot for that too. And then your students start playing into your sensibilities, which really I put a stop to right away. You know, I asked them, do you really want to do that? You know, like if they're deliberately putting dogs in there to get an A. You know. I thought this was sort of a segue image to things too. You know, I like the sense of time and motion that's going on in this image. It's abstract. You know, I like how the lights kind of look like they're clouds. And the whole bit, I don't know what's going on. It's could be the state fair. It could be just a street scene.
Yeah,
okay, it's where people gather anyway. I like it, you know, for that reason. It's, you know, compositionally it's cool. It's you know, it asks. It's ambiguous. I like that in an image. And sometimes when they ask more questions than they answer, and this one has that kind of feel to it. Okay, I read that somewhere. What's that? This one is, you know, I'm getting into some things that are more domestic and things around us every day and looking at the world in a different way. I mean, it's nice, you know, this is one thing that's happened to me as I've gotten older. I noticed that almost all my pictures are kind of looking down or looking out. And not looking up at much stuff because it's kind of like, you know, I've got bad knees. And, you know, when I go out shooting, I do that, but man, I'm on the ground. I'm spread out and I'm laying down, I'm not gonna crouch and get a shot anymore, you know. And I'm finding myself, I know it's gonna happen, I'm gonna be doing a lot more from a tripod these days. And boy, did that help my work. Oh, you wanna see your work change? Use a tripod. Reuse a tripod. But this one, I like the low camera angle, the broom. That always speaks to me. It's sort of metaphoric. The tonality is really nice, and I don't know. This looks like it's, is this silver?
I think it's digital.
It is. And I like it, because it doesn't matter to me, by the way. This is another Edward Weston quote. Regardless of the method, the artist is the medium. And you know why he said that? Because they were thinking that photography wasn't art. That they were devaluing photography compared to painting and drawing and sculpture. And he said, regardless of the method, the artist is the medium. And I kind of believe that. You know, I don't care if you loved your 8x10 view camera and spent all day for the light to get right. You know, a good shot's a good shot. Or if you kind of like, grab your point and shoot out of your iPhone. I've seen some great iPhone photography lately. You know, it's the image is what counts and what the artist saw. But I like that for that reason. I think I like the textures in the background. And it also is, there's a lot more dirt for that broom to sweep too. I kind of like that metaphor. Okay. Now these are everyday objects that I have lined up in here now for a while. I didn't know. I like the abstraction of that. I didn't know if that was a comb or a rail. I think it is a comb. With the light, I'm a real sucker for that playing with light like that we have here. Okay, I think it is a comb. This is another one I missed the first round. I like that quite a bit. There's a certain amount of softness going on here. I don't know how that was achieved. If that's a digital effect.
Film.
It's film.
Yeah.
Nice. You can still, like what I used to do in the darkroom, and I keep saying what I used to do, maybe I'm going to get back into it. My goal to get back into silver imaging, if you will, or traditional imaging, is I want to get into Van Dyke and cyanotype and tintypes. I want to get back into my view camera. I think in the darkroom, if you take something that's kind of frosted, and like if you look through it, the world would look kind of fuzzy and frosted, and you wave that for about a third of your exposure, you might get that effect. The shadows are going to start to glow. If you do that when you shoot it, the highlights will glow. Oh yeah. But I like this too. These are just abstractions. This is a, whoops, I'm looking at it wrong. I got to grab my first, there it is. Well, why the hell did I put that in there? I can't even figure out what it is. I like it like this.
You like it better upside down?
Oh, much better upside down.
Is it mounted or dry mounted?
It's dry mounted.
Oh.
I'm much better like this, because I like where that's going, that cross where it is. So, why did I think this was? Oh, I like it. It's, I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is, but that's kind of, I like the way it's organized. That's what, like I said.
So you like it like that?
I like it like that. Boy, do I hate it when people do that to my pictures. What the hell's wrong with you? But, so it's like this, and I still like it, okay? I'll still like it. But boy, visually, I think that's...
You like the uprising?
Oh, I think that's the way it happened. If there's nothing to orient me, but sure, if it's like this, gravity isn't working because there's a stack of paper on top of here that's clipped together on that surface, so this is the way it was shot.
Could have been glued.
You're right.
Yeah. These two.
Yeah. These three were kind of fun, like what do you guys photograph around here? This is a curtains. I thought that was pretty cool that there's references to curtains in each one of these.
So again, you're thinking of groupings.
Groupings,
Yeah,
I'm thinking of groupings.
Yeah.
That this would be an interesting grouping together. And don't be obvious about it and see if people see the connection. And if it's over the top, that's fine.
We'll kind of try and hang them that way.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
And if you don't, it
That'd be
wouldn't
fun.
hurt my feelings. Okay, speeding things up here a little bit. I like that as an abstraction with the nature, but I thought it looked nice with this. One's color, one's black and white, but this isn't so over the top color. And I like these images for their color. There's a series of images here, and they're they're kind of portrait-like. I would say that these two, whoops, well they all go together. I like that quite a bit. I like the there must be somebody looking at it in a mirror or something like that.
Self-portrait.
Yeah, self-portrait. It's beautiful. It's alluring. It really is, but it's cool. I like it. I like it's all soft, but I don't care. You know, that one's really cool. Once again, you know, the use of color and the urbanization of it is interesting to me. I like that with the wide-angle lenses. I mean, I wish the color was a little better in it, but I like it as a subject. And then this is kind of fun to go with that grouping as well, I thought. You know, if I was like paginating a portfolio, I'd have these 4 in a row somewhere. Okay. Oh my God. How many grades does this school have? These are some nice abstractions, and I like the use of line in these.
That's a cool one.
What's that?
That's a cool one.
It is a cool one, yep. And I don't know if that's somebody like looking through a garage window or something.
They're
like
car
that.
wash.
A car wash.
I love car
At
wash.
the car wash. I haven't done that yet. Oh, this is fun. I don't know if you ever heard of Light the Underground. Have you heard of that website, Light the Underground? You have, okay. That's one of my students. I didn't teach him how to light the underground. He came there knowing how to do that. But it's lighttheunderground.com. His name's Cameron Torgerud, and he does a lot of like, you know, spinning. They light steel wool on fire and spin it. And they dress up in lights so that they can do things. And then he also has glow sticks and lights, LEDs that he'll paint somebody with. And, you know, so that's pretty cool. You know, it's metaphoric. I like it. Is it, you know, are the stairs going up or down? I kind of like that too, you know. So, and I like this abstraction.
Guess what it is, Jack?
Well, it's yours.
Well, no. Guess
It's
what it is.
smoke.
No.
It's oil.
I flipped it upside down originally. It was the other way.
Okay. I don't know. What is it?
It's ink going into the water.
Oh, I like that. That's a, is it? Did you reverse it? It's a negative
No.
still, or is it a positive image? Okay. Cool. Very cool. And then that's a reflection of the bottom of the glass or something?
That would have been I shot it through a clear bowl, so that's actually the surface of the water.
Oh, that's the surface of the water. Wow. So it is actually like this.
That's how I shot it.
Okay. I like it like that. I get that. I like that. And this is yours as well.
Yeah.
Nice print. It's nice tonality.
like
And I think once again, as a
rock
grouping, they go together. And I didn't look to see that, I knew this one was yours, but I didn't know this one was. Yeah. So, it's very cool.
Yeah.
That's it. It looks like the surf. Once again, I like that connection. You know, it's a waterfall. You know, how does nature repeat itself? How does, you know, this is everywhere. This is happening on, you know, on Venus right now, except it's lava. Or on Europa, a moon of Jupiter. You know, the same thing is happening, you know, the patterns in nature. It's not trees growing, but it's the same patterns. Boy, is this guy full of crap, huh? Right. And then I did, this one kind of fell randomly out of a grouping, and I debated about putting it in or not, but I really like the visualization. That subject matter is everywhere, and yeah, it's a toilet, but it's also, you know, a really graceful line coming across, and it's, you know, it's would be nice if it was sharper, but it's an interesting image. And nonetheless, this is the person in here who did this. Well, pardon me for saying this. It's a bit cliche, but it's well done. You know, looking up a palm tree and at the conservatory or something. That, you know, I've seen a lot of that, but I still like it. It's a nicely done version of that, and I love this. You know, I don't have a shot like that. You know, I could do it, but I don't. You know, you ever hear the joke, how many photographers does it take to change a light bulb? Well, really only one, but 9, it takes 10 total, but really only one, because you have 9 other people saying, I could do that. But you don't, do you? I've got that. People look at my, oh, I could do that. yeah, I should shoot more. You know, that's a nice compliment when people look at your photography and say, yeah, I should shoot more. You know, I could do that. Yeah, if you don't, you lazy. So, you know, you'd rather have a beer and watch TV, wouldn't you? Yeah. I like that for the color, and we get much tighter on that and crop it square, because this is no interest to me. You know, just crop in on that. Wow, what a neat guy. I like these quite a bit. This kind of speaks to me. I've done stuff like this myself. So, is this person in here? Laura, are you in here? Where are you? There you are! Well. Okay, yeah. I do. I like that kind of, you know, Photoshop layering and all that. Or is this all film, right? Is it really? No. No, I like how the Photoshop layering is going on there. And the subject matter, I like the rust layers. And it speaks to me. You know, it makes me, you know, look at it and think about it. And the composition has to be good first, though. You can't just do this. You have to have the good composition and subject matters and understand some photoshopping and blending layers. Are you blending your layers here? Yes, you are. Yes. This is good too. You know, having the subject matter to work with and seeing the subject matter is pretty cool. I like that. And it's probably you have a nice series of this too, right? Yes. So you're thinking in series. Yeah. And this one I really like. I like the life of it all. Is this person in here? No?
No.
All right. I just like the life of it. You know, that this person's leaping, and it says Leaping Lily, and I think that's a good enough name for it, you know. It's, you know, the colors are probably going to be hard to nail if you're doing something like this because of the overall warmth to it, but that's making it. And my first impression was, geez, I wish the color was a little better, but it's a little magenta, it bugs me. But, you know, I think if you got the color, it would just really come to life to me, but I really love it. It's got a lot of emotion to it. Speaking of life, I mean, it's, you know, in this world where there's a lot not going on that's good, it's just fun to see somebody like that. That's really sweet. But it's cool at the same time. Once again, it's kind of metaphoric. This blew me away. I mean, the first thing I saw, I was like, wow, that's really cool. You know, it's an interesting juxtaposition because we don't think of, you know, we don't even know. We can make tons of assumptions here, can't we, in a photograph? That this guy's, you know, a gun owner, a machine gun owner, that he's patriotic. Oh, geez, you don't think of patriotic people looking like hippies. You know, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know. This could have been all set up. Maybe it's a documentary photograph. Maybe this is who he is. But I do like the juxtaposition. It just makes you think that not all gun owners are rednecks. Although not all, oh, that's one of my first life lessons, is that not all people with long hair were cool. You know, it's one of my first life lessons. Compositionally, I mean, it is pretty interesting, and the juxtaposition and the whole thing. You know, it wouldn't be made at all without the shallow depth of field. You can see it was a longer lens and a little bit more sophistication in shooting it. Somebody thought this out, you can tell. Because I don't think they said, oh God, you know, it's her dad, I guess. It's like, oh Dad, look, you're wearing your American flag stuff and holding your gun. Let me get my camera. I don't think it would have folded that way. So, and I like him looking off camera. I'm sure she had some where he was looking on camera, but it's pretty cool. It looks like an antique rifle at that.
It's a Tommy gun, I think.
It's a Tommy gun, yeah.
From Al Capone days.
That's right. And he looks like he could be from ZZ Top or Lord of the Rings. I don't know who those people are. Is it Gollum? Gandalf?
Yeah.
Gandalf. Oh, that one I know.
Well, does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for me?
That was a fast hour.
It was a hell of a fast
Yeah.
hour. I was really just getting into it. I could do another half hour, but I have to get back to work. Thank you. It was fun. It was great. It just made me realize too that how much I enjoyed doing this. This is you know, grass is greener or whatever. You know, going to another town and doing the same thing you do in your town is more fun, I guess. But this has been a gas. I really want to thank you.
Well, we're proud of our work, and
I would say so.
Yeah,
I would be proud of it all. Yeah.
Good. All right.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
And remember, the winners will will be announced next Thursday. The doors open and cookies are out there at 6. 6:30 is the announcements, the awards, okay?
I hope I